From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day, this is Dateline Malacañang, and here are the news. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has asked the Local Water Utilities Administration, or LWUA, to launch an immediate investigation into the lack of a reliable water supply in public schools. The decision comes after Marcos visited public schools in Malolos and San Miguel, both in Bulacan, as part of the Department of Education's Brigada Eskwela launch on Monday. The president voiced worry over the poor quality of essential amenities, particularly the lack of water supply and clean bathrooms, emphasizing the impact on student welfare and educational conditions.
Sa kanyang pag-inspeksyon sa Tibagan Elementary School sa San Miguel, Bulacan at Barihan Elementary School sa Malolos, Bulacan, nakita po mismo ng Pangulo ang isang seryosong problema. Walang tumutulong tubig sa ilang palikuran sa paaralan. Ito po ay hindi simpleng aberya. Ito ay usapin ng kalinisan, ng kalusugan, at ng dignidad ng ating mga estudyante. Paano sila makakapag-aral ng maayos kung ang mismong eskwelahan ay kulang sa batayang serbisyo? Kaya't malinaw ang direktiba ng Pangulo. Inatasan ang Local Water Utilities Administration or LUA na agad magsagawa ng investigasyon. Sino-sino ang may pananagutan? Bakit walang tubig? At paano ito'y maibabalik bago magbukas ng klase sa susunod na linggo?
Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said the president gave LWUA 48 hours to submit an initial report identifying the cause of the supply failures and the officials responsible, as well as outlining measures to restore services before class begin next week. LWUA is a government-owned and controlled corporation entrusted with promoting and managing water systems in cities and municipalities outside of Metro Manila. It was established via Presidential Decree number 198, also known as the Provincial Water Utilities Act of 1973, which also allowed for the formation of local water districts. The palace underscored the importance of the issue, stating that access to water and sanitation is essential for effective education.
May 48 hours ang luwa para magsumite ng initial na report at magbibigay po tayo ng update bukas at muli sa Miyerkules. Ang mensahe ng Pangulo ay malinaw. Ang gobyerno ay may pananagutan, hindi lang sa mga estudyante kundi sa bawat magulang na umaasa sa atin. Responsibilidad nating tiyakin na may maayos na pasilidad, sapat na suporta para sa mga guro at sistemang gumagana dahil yan ang pundasyon ng isang ligtas, maayos at epektibong edukasyon. At sa dulo, ang layunin natin ay kapayapaan ng isip para sa bawat magulang.
Philippine Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang announced that Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has ordered a thorough investigation into Siquijor Island Power Cooperative or SIPCO due to ongoing power shortages in the province. The instruction comes as Siquijor is dealing with a continuous energy crisis which is exacerbated by water shortages and loss of livelihood for inhabitants. According to Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Claire Castro, President Marcos has already summoned outgoing Energy Secretary Rafael Lotilla and Acting Secretary Sharon Garin to discuss the situation. The President has also directed relevant agencies to move quickly. The palace official said that short and long-term actions are now being prepared.
Pinatawag na po ng Pangulo sina outgoing Energy Secretary Rafael Lotilla at Acting Energy Secretary Sharon Garin, at nakikipagpulong na po sila upang ayusin ang sitwasyon sa Siquijor. Nagbigay na rin siya ng direktiba ang ating Pangulo para sa isang malalim na investigasyon sa power provider na si Kihor Island Power Cooperative. At inutos ng Pangulo ang agarang pagresolba sa matagal ng problema sa supply ng kuryente sa lalawigan.
Philippine Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. bared his plan to conduct a quarterly performance review in government as part of his efforts to recalibrate the government. President Marcos made the pronouncement as he clarified that there is no cabinet revamp since the latest move is not a one-shot, one-time, big-time thing.
I have to explain that it's not a cabinet revamp. What we really did was we are still in the process of examining. Now, nasa baba na tayo. What happened really here was that I put everyone on notice that you are basically all on probation. And, okay, this time, it looks like yung iba, mabuti naman, maganda naman ang performance. Ngayon, nasa USEC na tayo, nasa mga agencies na tayo. But we are, what essentially, what you refer to as a cabinet revamp, it's not a one-shot, one-time, big-time thing. It is an ongoing thing. This is something, it is essentially putting all government agencies, departments on notice that we have to do better, and we will be looking very, very closely, and we will make that review on a periodic basis, maybe a quarterly basis. And titignan natin yung mga target ba natin, naabot ba natin on a quarterly basis. And we'll be much more rigorous in looking at the performance, not only at the top level, but all the way.
Government undersecretaries are now under performance review, President Marcos said, adding that the performance evaluation will be more rigorous, covering not just government officials. President Marcos said the public can expect more changes in the future. On May 22, President Marcos ordered cabinet secretaries, heads of agencies with cabinet rank, other heads of agencies, and presidential advisors and assistants to resign from their respective posts following the 2025 midterm elections to recalibrate his administration's priorities and services.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang confirmed that National Security Advisor Secretary Eduardo Año will remain in his post despite ongoing health issues and the administration's recent cabinet adjustments. Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said Año, a former Armed Forces Chief of Staff and Interior Secretary, has been dealing with health concerns since the COVID-19 pandemic but has chosen to continue serving in his current capacity. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. supports Año's decision to stay on, citing his competence and good performance.
Okay, ayon po sa ating Pangulo, and I quote, Secretary Año has been doing or has been having to deal with health issues ever since the time of the pandemic. However, he has kindly agreed to stay on in the NSC as he feels. And our President agrees that he can continue to do the fine job he has been doing. So, maaari pong manatili si Secretary Año hanggat kakayanin po niyang kanyang kalusugan at yun po.
The clarification comes amid a series of leadership changes in the Marcos administration, including recent replacements in key cabinet positions as part of what officials describe as a strategic recalibration. Año was appointed National Security Advisor in January 2023, succeeding Clarita Carlos. Malacañang gave no timeline for how long Año is expected to remain in office, noting that any future changes will depend on his health and personal decision. In a statement, Año thanked the president for his trust and confidence and vowed to continue delivering results.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang expressed optimism that newly installed Supreme Court or SC Associate Justice Raul Villanueva will fulfill his mandate without taking sides. In a press briefing, Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary and Palace Press Briefer Claire Castro told Villanueva to just follow the law.
Sa bawat public servant po, ang dapat lang naman pong manatili sa aming mga puso at isipan, maglingkod ng tama. Walang kinakampihan, walang pinapanigan, kung ano po ang nasa batas, yun lamang po.
Villanueva was sworn in by Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. in a ceremony at the Malacañang Palace in Manila on Tuesday morning. He is President Marcos's first appointee to the High Court. He succeeded Associated Justice Mario Lopez, who retired from the service on June 4. Villanueva began his judicial career in 2022 as presiding judge of the Las Piñas City Regional Trial Court or RTC Branch 255. He also served as acting presiding judge of Taguig City RTC Branch 267 and the Manila RTC Branch 4. He likewise held the position court administrator at the SC, well-deserved. Outgoing Manila Mayor Hani Lacuna, meanwhile, lauded Villanueva's appointment to the SC. In a statement, Lacuna said Villanueva will bring to the SC his particular mix of expertise in law, academia, economics, and finance. Lacuna also said Villanueva's appointment to the High Court is well-deserved.
Dateline Malacañang.
The priority of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. is to meet the Filipino people's needs, Malacañang said amid the looming impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte. Duterte's fate is solely up to Congress, Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said at the Palace briefing, echoing Marcos's stance. Castro issued a statement in response to calls of several groups, including the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines, to stop delaying Duterte's impeachment trial.
May kanya-kanya po talagang paniniwala, may kanya-kanyang opinyon, ang bawat grupo, ang bawat tao. Katulad po ng sinabi natin, ang public servant dapat po talaga ay mayroong accountability, may transparency. So, ginagalang po ng Pangulo ang bawat opinyon ng bawat tao at ng bawat grupo. Pero muli, ang Pangulo, ang pagtutuunan po talaga ay ang pagtatrabaho para sa taong bayan.
Thank you.
She advised the public to just let the Senate do its job and let the process take its course. In an interview with Palace reporters, President Marcos said he believes that Senate President Francis Escudero wants a peaceful transition of the trial from the 19th Congress to the 20th Congress. The Senate is expected to take further action on Duterte's impeachment case when it resumes session.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. said that there is no way the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte will be finished under the 19th Congress. In an interview with Palace reporters at the Malacañang Palace, President Marcos said it would not be surprising if the impeachment case would continue in the 20th Congress in case the 19th Congress fails to wrap up the proceedings. President Marcos maintained that he would not intervene in the impeachment process. He also believed that Senate President Francis Escudero wanted a peaceful transition of the trial from the 19th Congress to the 20th Congress.
Well, this is really a function of the Senate right now. We leave it to them. It has moved already from the House. It has now been in the Senate for a few months. We're watching, of course, what the Senate President is doing to try to make it as a peaceful transition as possible from this Congress to the next. It is very clear that because there's no way that even if they start the trial now, that they will finish it before the new senators come in. So, well, again, the senators will decide.
On Monday evening, the Senate referred the impeachment complaint against Duterte to its Committee on Rules, formally initiating proceedings that could lead to the convening of an impeachment court. The move came after Escudero took his oath as presiding officer of the impeachment court in a symbolic step seen as prelude to the trial. The Senate is expected to take further action when it resumes session. Congress adjourns sine die on June 30.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. said Malacañang is looking into allegations of corruption and misconduct against Bureau of Immigration, RBI Commissioner Joel Anthony Viado, following a complaint reportedly submitted by anonymous employees of the Bureau. Despite the complaint's lack of signatures and specific details, President Marcos said the government would not ignore the contents of the letter.
Well, first we're looking at it, but this mahirap mapag-aralan ng mabuti kung white paper na hindi pinirmahan at saka walang specifics. But nonetheless, everything like this, we look into it and we will continue.
The letter dated June 2 and received by Malacañang accuses Viado of improper handling of cases involving Philippine offshore gaming operators, or POGOs, banned by President Marcos last year, and the deportation of illegal foreign workers. The complainants, who chose to remain anonymous citing fear of retaliation, claimed that, if left unaddressed, the issues could lead to significant corruption problems, potentially tarnishing the image of the administration.
Dateline Malacañang.
In related news, Malacañang urged individuals accusing Bureau of Immigration or BI Commissioner Joel Viado of wrongdoings to submit concrete evidence, not just anonymous complaints or so-called white papers. During a press briefing, Presidential Communications Office Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said the Department of Justice or DOJ will look into the anonymous letter as ordered by Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., but noted that it would be better if the complaint comes with supporting evidence. The letter dated June 2 and received by Malacañang accused Viado of improper handling of cases involving Philippine offshore gaming operators or POGOs banned by President Marcos last year and the deportation of illegal foreign workers. The complainants, who chose to remain anonymous citing fear of retaliation, claimed that if left unaddressed, the issues could lead to significant corruption problems, potentially tarnishing the image of the administration. Castro, a lawyer, stressed that government agencies cannot act on anonymous letters alone. Castro encouraged complainants to come forward with documentations, even anonymously.
Okay, nakausap din po natin, maliban po sa sinabi po ng Pangulo, nakausap din po natin si ASEC Nico patungkol po dito sa reklamo di umano sa BI. Okay? Commissioner. Ang sinasabi po nila, mas maganda po kung may reklamo ay may kasama rin po sana ebidensya na kapaloob. Mahirap po na white paper lang at walang pinangahawakang anumang ebidensya or isinasumite. Dahil mauubos po ang oras ng DOJ kung puro white paper lamang po ang kanilang pagtutuunan ng pansin. So, hinihikayat po kung meron po talaga kayong reklamo, kahit hindi na po kayo magpakilala, ibigay nyo lang po yung ebidensya para po meron naman pong dahilan para magkaroon ng mas malalim na pag-iimbestiga.
The president earlier said the government would not ignore the contents of the complaint letter despite its lack of signatures and specific details.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. urged the Federation of Filipino-Chinese Chambers of Commerce and Industry Incorporated, or FFCC-CII, to help in enhancing the bilateral relations with China and promoting the Philippines as a dependable economic partner. President Marcos made the call as he led the oath-taking of 265 newly elected FFCC-CII officers at the Federation's office in Binondo City of Manila. The President also called on the FFCC FFCCCII to empower small and medium-sized businesses, saying helping them is crucial in uplifting the entire economy and the entire nation. He said the government reforms such as the Green Lanes for strategic investments and the Create More Act are key to shaping a business landscape that is agile, transparent, and future-ready. Founded in 1954, the FFCCCII is the largest organization of Chinese Filipino businessmen and a private sector partner of the government in national development, advocating for business and economic growth while supporting various philanthropic and civic initiatives. The Federation's recent projects include the lighting of the historic Jones Bridge and the ongoing beautification efforts in the Binondo Chinatown district. During the event, the FFCCCII also turned over to President Marcos a scale model of a 2-classroom school building, reaffirming its commitment to social responsibility. The donation is part of the Federation's long-running Operation Barrio Schools program, which has constructed over 6,500 public school buildings nationwide to address educational gaps in underserved communities. President Marcos expressed gratitude to the Filipino-Chinese community for its commitment to turn over 250 units of 2-classroom school buildings in 2026. President Marcos hoped that the new FFCCCII officers would serve with ever greater courage, wisdom, and purpose.
You inherit a legacy defined by service and by vision. It is now your turn to write the next chapter with even greater courage, wisdom, and purpose. So I challenge you now to lead with clarity, steer our industries towards innovative strategies that are globally competitive, sustainable, and ready for the future. But your leadership should not only focus on large enterprises. It is just as crucial that you empower small and medium-sized businesses. By uplifting them, you are also uplifting the entire economy and the entire nation. And as you lead, honor the cultural legacy that binds us. Our joint heritage is one of our greatest strengths. Inspire future generations to carry that forward. Finally, you are uniquely positioned to help deepen our international partnerships, particularly, of course, with China. Stronger ties mean better trade, greater investments, and enhanced collaboration. Use your platform to showcase the Philippines as a dependable partner for economic growth. So as you embark on this new chapter, know that you do not walk alone. This government stands with you. Through reforms such as the Green Lanes for strategic investments and the Create More Act, we are shaping a business landscape that is agile, transparent, and future-ready. This time, free from red tape and bureaucratic delays. All these initiatives send a clear and resounding message. The Philippines is open for business and partnerships that uplift lives and transform communities.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, for the foreign exchange rates, according to the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas as of Wednesday, June 10, 2025, the United States dollar stands at 55 pesos and 82 centavos, Japan yen at 39 centavos, Singapore dollar at 43 pesos and 41 centavos, South Korea won is at 4 centavos, China yuan at 7 pesos and 78 centavos, Hong Kong dollar at 7 pesos and 11 centavos, United Kingdom pound at 75 pesos and 64 centavos, European Monetary Union euro at 63 pesos and 76 centavos, Canada dollar at 40 pesos and 76 centavos, and Saudi Arabia rial at 14 pesos and 88 centavos.
Dateline Malacañang.
And that is all for today's Dateline Malacañang for Radyo Pilipinas World Service. This has been Bea Gaza-de Guzman.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.